Kaden.
So why we switch?
All right. Hello. Okay. We are looking at 10.1 day 2 today. You have a worksheet, so you do not need to have your computers open. And you do get to skip number 6.
Please have a day off.
You had plenty.
But you.
I know, because I'm the only teacher that matters. Okay, here we go. Today we are using some formulas for area and circumference. So we have 2 formulas specifically that. Does anyone know the formula for area?
A equals length times height.
That's area of a rectangle. Pi something. Close. Get there. It is. Okay. All right. Pi times radius squared. So R is the radius. Pi is 2 lines with the squiggle on top. 2 little lines with a squiggle. Alright, so pi times radius squared is the only formula we have for area, but we do have a formula for circumference. So here is a circle, alright, and normally we have a radius, and the radius goes from the center to the edge, so most of our stuff is the radius. Circumference is the distance all the way around the circle.
Oh, that's fine.
That's crazy.
And so we're going to use C for circumference. And to get all the way around the circle, the formula is 2 times pi times the radius. So 2 pi r. Now I want to point out that pi r squared, thank you, and circumference is 2 pi r. They're very closely related. And if you're lucky enough to have me in calculus later on, you'll realize that if you take this power and just drop it right down in front, you get the circumference, okay? So that might help you just remember. Maybe you only need to memorize the area formula, and then if you drop the power, that gives you circumference, okay? We have another formula for circumference that you can decide if you want to use it or not, because I have 1 radius here, but if I go in the other direction, that'll give me the diameter, yeah. So the whole thing here would be the diameter. So the diameter, it equals how many r's? 2 r's. So if we have the radius and we double it, we get the diameter. But also, if you have the diameter, how do you get the radius? Divide by 2. Okay, great. So there's another formula that we can use for circumference because 2r, 2 times r, is the same as diameter. So circumference is also pi diameter, pi times diameter. You can decide which formula you want to use, and we're going to use both. So first, we want to use the formulas to find area for numbers 1 through 4, and then we're going to use circumference for find circumference for numbers 5 through 8. Please read the directions. In number 1, did they give me a diameter or a radius? Radius. The radius is 12 meters, and we are going to find the area. What's the formula for area? Pi times radius squared. So I'm going to take my pi, and I'm going to plug in my radius, and I'm going to square it. Now the nice thing is, do we multiply pi times 12? Or do we square the 12 first?
Square.
We must square, why? Why must we square it first? PEMDAS, very good. Order of operations matters here. What is 12 squared? 144 times pi is a perfect answer. It's beautiful, it's perfect, it is 100% exact, okay? Not only that, but how easy was that to do? Totally easy, right? So if you just have nice integers. We're going to leave our answer. This is called in terms of pi. I'm going to write that down. In terms of pi. And that's what that's called when we leave our answer with a pi in it. It's a term that has a pi in it. It is crazy, but it's so fast. Totally crazy. Now, what are the units for this area? Meters squared. Now, I want to talk about y just briefly here. This 12 that we plugged in, it was 12 meters. And then we had to square that. And so that would be meters times meters, which gives us meters squared. That's how our units become squared. Okay. Here, number 2. What information are they giving us in this picture? Diameter. They're giving me the diameter is equal to 18 inches. I need the radius. How do we find the radius? 18 divided by 2 is 9 inches. So our radius is 9. We need to find the area. So that is going to be pi times radius squared. And so what can I write for my area?
Area equals
81 pi. Good. 9 squared is 81 times pi. So 81 pi inches squared. Very good. And that is a beautiful area. And it is exact. It is 100% exact. All in terms of pi there. It's beautiful. Let's look at number 3. Number 3, they gave us a radius of 2.8 feet. Here's the difference. On this problem, they gave us a decimal to begin with. Okay, which is fine. But we're going to, because they started with a decimal, we're going to have our answer end with a decimal. Okay, so we're going to find the area. So we have pi times radius squared. And now here, I can go ahead and just plug this whole thing into my calculator. Again, since it started with a decimal, we can end with a decimal. First, you need to look at your calculator and figure out where pi is, because we're not gonna use some crazy approximation. Pi is right here. It's in blue. What do you need to do to access pi? Second. Good. So we're gonna do second pi, and then 2.8 squared. I'm gonna do it the really good way, which is to use parentheses. All right, and then we get, so area is 24.63 feet squared. I'm rounding to the hundredths place today. If you see anything on Delta Math, you got to pay attention to what they want you to round to. Okay, any questions on those? Super. Let's skip down to number 5. Number 5, what information are they giving you here? Radius is 7 millimeters. Which formula for circumference are we going to use?
the first one.
Yeah, 2 pi r is fine. So the circumference equals 2 times pi times the radius. Now again, these are really nice and easy numbers. Oh, it could be a house. So once again, what do you think the answer is going to be? pi. Very good, yeah. All these are just multiplied together, so we can rearrange these numbers however we want. But I'm just going to go ahead and multiply the 2 and the 7 together to get 14, and then attach the pi. And again, this is an exact answer. And this is length units. It's just millimeters. Didn't have to square anything. Nothing fancy there. Number 6, we have a radius equal to 15.6 centimeters. Again, I'm going to use 2 pi r. 2 times pi times my r. Now, should we leave our answer in terms of pi? No, decimal. Why decimal? Yeah, it started with a decimal. So this is how we typically do things in math. If it starts in a decimal, it can end in a decimal. So 2 times pi times 15.6 would be 98.02 centimeters. 98.02 centimeters. Let's look at number 8. Number 8, what information are they giving us?
Diameter.
Diameter. We have a diameter of 10.2 meters. Which formula do you want to use for circumference?
Circumference equals pi times diameter.
Pi times diameter. Yeah, we can use this one because they gave us diameter. It doesn't matter. You could figure out R pretty easily. So we can use pi times diameter. And again, since it started with a decimal, then I can have it end with a decimal. And so I get circumference is 32.04 meters. Okay? So your homework starts just figuring out circumference and area.
That's easy.
Very easy. Excellent. So now we make it a little bit harder. Let's look at number 9. So it says we want to find the diameter of a circle with a circumference of 65.97 meters. So they're giving me information about circumference. So I need to write down a formula. And I'm trying to figure out diameter. Which formula would be better to use if I'm trying to find diameter?
The right one.
That right one. C equals pi times, I'm going to write that down. C equals pi times diameter. Now, they tell me circumference is 65.97. So where can I put that 65.97? Yeah, we can replace C with 65.97 equals pi times diameter. Now I'm trying to figure out diameter. So how are we going to solve for diameter? Divide by pi. Absolutely. So we can go ahead and divide both sides by pi. Over here it cancels out. Pi divided by pi goes away. Diameter is all by itself. And now in my calculator, 65.97 divided by pi is 20.998, which would round to 21. Fantastic. All right, this one says, hey, find a radius. So we're looking for a radius R of a circle with a circumference of 21.99 feet. So again, we're trying to figure out radius, and we have circumference. Which formula would be the best choice here? Last one, 2 pi r. Very good. So circumference equals 2 pi r. And this one you have to be a little bit careful on. Where does the 21.99 go? In place of circumference. Good. So 21.99 equals 2 times pi times r. Now, how do we get r alone? How do we solve for r? Very good. Divide by 2 pi is exactly right. We don't want either of those things, so we are just going to go ahead and divide them away. So they cancel out on the right. We get r all by itself. And this is where you need to be a little bit careful. We are dividing by the entire 2 pi. So I'm old school. I much prefer to just type it in all at once. So I'm just going to do 21.99 divided by parentheses 2 pi because I want to make sure I'm dividing by the whole thing in the denominator. It's a little fancy. And so that becomes 3.5. So here's the problem. You can do it the way that you guys know, which is to use the other fraction form. You will get the right answer if you do that. I just don't like it because it takes forever. You'll get the same answer. Here's the problem. If you take 21.99 and divide by 2 pi without parentheses, are you going to get the right answer? No, you are not. And the reason you are not is because it's going to take the operations in order from left to right, as it should. It's going to say, hey, I'm going to take 21.99, I'm going to divide by 2 first, and then times by something bigger than 3, okay? So that gives you an answer of something bigger than 33. All right? So we have to be very careful when we communicate in calculator, okay? So use parentheses. When you use your calculator, you'll always get it right. Okay? So you have to be careful. All right, let's turn to Z-pitch. to get number 11. Number 11, we want to figure out the radius when we have a circumference of 35 pi. Which formula should we use?
I don't know.
C equals 2 pi r, okay. And where do we put the 35 pi? Let's see, circumference. All right, so 35 pi equals 2 pi r. How do you get r by itself? Divide by 2 pi. Divide by 2 pi. Cancels out on the right. Super fancy, super nice. So what happens on the left? Yeah, the pi's cancel. And we're left with 35 divided by 2, which totally awesome answer. You could use 17.5, but I can also leave it 35 halves. It's exact. It's perfect. And I didn't have to use my calculator. And I didn't have to think the extra step to get 17.5. Okay. 12 and 14. We want to find the radius of a circle with an area above 380.13. Which formula should we use now?
The area.
Area formula. What is it? Pi radius squared. Very good. A equals pi radius squared. Now, I will tell you right now, you need to memorize these formulas. Absolutely essential that you memorize these formulas. So please write them down until you have them memorized. Okay? So we're going to replace A with 380.13 equals pi times radius squared. How do we solve for the radius now? Divide by pi. Good place to start. Perfect. All right, I'm going to use my calculator here. 380.13 divided by pi gives me, ooh, that is, can I just say that's 121?
No.
Yeah. And then how do you get r by itself? Square root. Very good. Because the square root and the square cancel each other out. Write this down. And so, oh, I know the square root of 121. 11. Very good. Square root both sides, we get 11. Beautiful. All right, now this says, hey, find the diameter of a circle with an area of 90.25 pi. What formula are we going to use? Area. We still have to use area. So pi r squared. And in place of A, we have 90.25 pi equals pi r squared. And then what do we need to do? Divide by pi. All right, we divide by pi. Hey, they go away. That's handy dandy. And so then I have the radius squared equals 90.25. And what do we need to do? Square root both sides. And so the radius becomes 9.5. Very good. Now, it doesn't, times 2. Very good, because it really wants the diameter. The diameter is twice the radius. So we need to do twice 9.5, which is 19. Very good. All right, you guys are doing fantastic. Thank you very much. We've got 3 more, and then we're done. Now, these last ones, we're using both formulas to create kind of a system of equations. So I'm going to write down the formulas again. What's the formula for area? Pi radius squared. Very good. And then if you know area, what's circumference? 2 pi r. Very good. That 2 just drops down in front. Now, it says we want to figure out the area of a circle that has a circumference of 26 pi feet. So that's what we know. We know that the circumference, and we know that the circumference is 26 pi. Now, what we're trying to figure out is we want to figure out area. So this is what we have to figure out, And we're going to start with what we know, which is the circumference. So I put the 26 pi in place of circumference, and then this allows me to figure out r. How are we going to figure out the radius? Divide by 2 pi. So those cancel out, and we get the radius equals 13. Good. The pi's reduce, and 26 divided by 2 is 13. Now, I get to take this number for the radius, 13, and we're going to drop it in so that we can figure out the area of that particular circle. Okay? So, find the area. I just need to do pi times 13 squared. What is 13 squared? 169 pi. This is going to be feet squared if we're looking at area. And again, this is an answer left in terms of pi because it's easy. Mathematicians are generally lazy. So if we don't have to go the extra step on the calculator, we aren't gonna. Okay. So number 16, find the circumference. So at the end here, I want to figure out the circumference. But what we're starting with is we know that the circle has an area of 289 pi. So I'm going to start with my area formula, which is pi r squared. And where does the 289 pi go? In place of area. So 289 pi equals pi radius squared. All right, what do we need to do next? Divide by pi, divide by pi. Those cancel out on both sides. Hallelujah. And we have 289 equals the radius squared. Square root both sides. Beautiful. So the radius equals 17. Beautiful. What do I do with that? Yeah, we want to find circumference. So 2 times pi times r. So we're going to take our 17 and put it in place of the radius there. So 2 times, pi times 17. And that's going to give me what? 34 pi. 2 times 17 is 34 with a pi attached. That is just millimeters because it's a length unit, not an area unit. Questions so far? Is this okay? It's just using 2 formulas back and forth. Very good. Last one is number 18 we're going to do. How'd we get what?
Nothing. I was trying to figure out how to get my calculator.
Okay. All right, it says find the area. So we want to find area when we're done. Find the area of a circle with a circumference of 131.95. So we're starting with circumference. Where do I put the 131.95? C, yeah, 131.95 goes 2 times pi times r. What do we need to do? Divide by 2 pi, divide by 2 pi. And again, what do you need if you're going to do this in your calculator? Parentheses, very good. 131.95 divided by quantity 2 pi. That's how you say that, quantity. That's the word in math we use for a grouping symbol. 21 even-ish. I'm going to round to 21. And then I'm going to take that radius and plug it in for area to find the area. So we have pi times 21 squared. What is 21 squared? 441. Very good. With a pi attached. And what are our units? Meters squared. All right, do you have any questions for me? Okay. You have a worksheet?